First, dash along with other disciplines such as accounting and law equips you with all the knowledge that is required to enter into auditing as a profession. Option A, auditing. Option B, taxation. Option C, finance. Option D, law. Answer is option A, auditing. Auditing, along with the other disciplines such as accounting and law, equips you with all the knowledge that is required to enter into auditing as a profession. Question 2. No business or institute can effectively carry on its activities without the help of proper option A, audit. Option B, record and documents. Option A, audit. Option B, record and accounts. Option C, neither A and nor B. Option D, both A and both B. Answer is option C. Answer is option B, record and accounts. No business or institute can effectively carry on its activities without the help of proper records and accounts. Question 3. As per Essay 200, overall objective of the independent auditor in conducting an audit of financial statement, the overall objective of the auditor are option A, to obtain reasonable assurance, option B, to report on the financial statement, option C, both A and B, option D, to obtain absolute assurance. Answer is C, both A and B. As per Essay 200, overall objective of the independent auditor in conducting an audit of a financial statement, the overall objective of the auditor are to obtain reasonable assurance and to report on the financial statements. Question 4. IESBA code relates to an audit of a financial statement, establishes which of the following as per the fundamental principle of professional ethics relevant to the auditor when conducting an audit of a financial statement. Option A, professional judgment. Option B, professional skepticism. Option C, professional intelligence. Option D, professional competence and due care. Answer is option D, professional competence and due care. IESBA code relates to an audit of a financial statement, establish which of the following as the fundamental principle of the professional ethics relevant to the audit when conducting an audit of a financial statement. Answer is professional competence and due care. Question 5. The auditor's dash safeguards the auditor's ability to form an audit opinion without being affected by any influence. Option A, objectivity. Option B, independence. Option C, confidentiality. Option D, integrity. Answer is option B, independence. The auditor's independence safeguards the auditor's ability to form an audit opinion without being affected by any influences. Question 6. Which of the following is the responsibility of the auditor? Option A, preparation and presentation of the financial statement in accordance with the applicable financial reporting. Option B, design, implementation and maintenance of the internal control. Option C, express an opinion on a financial statement. Option D, to obtain limited assurance. Answer is option C, express an opinion on a financial statement. The responsibility of the auditor to express an opinion on the financial statement. Question 7. An employee of the Fruits and Vegetable Limited was of the opinion that the auditor of the company is required to express an opinion on which of the following the auditor of a company is required to express an opinion. Option A, only balance sheet of the company. Option B, financial statement of the company. Option C, only profit and loss account of the company. Option D, only cash flow statement of the company. Answer is option B, financial statement of the company. An employee of a Fruit and Vegetable Limited was of the opinion that the auditor of the company is required to express an opinion on which of the following the auditor of the company is required to express an opinion. Answer is option B, financial statement of the company. Question 8. The auditor of the Question 8. The auditor for Delicious Sweets Limited was of the opinion that the objective of auditor of financial statement of company is to provide reasonable assurance that financial statements of the company are free from misstatement. Which type of misstatements are maintained by auditor of Delicious Sweet Limited? Option is simple, option B material, option C easy, option D competence. Answer is option B material. The auditor of a Delicious Sweets Limited was of the opinion that the objective of audit of the financial statement of a company is to provide a reasonable assurance that the financial statement of a company are free from misstatement. Which of the misstatements are mentioned by the auditor of Delicious Sweet Limited? Answer is material. Question 9. If the auditor concludes that there is reasonable justification to charge the engagement, and if the audit work performed compliant with the essays. Question 9. If the auditor concludes that there is a reasonable justification to change the engagement, and if the audit work performed complied with essays applicable to the changed engagement, the report issued would be the appropriate for the revised term of engagement. In order to avoid confusion, the report would not include reference to option A, the original engagement or any procedure that may have been performed in the original engagement, option B, the original engagement, option C, any procedure that may have been performed in original engagement, option D, the original engagement and any procedure that may have been performed in the original engagement. Answer is option A, the original engagement or any procedure that may have been performed in the original engagement. If the auditor concludes that there is a reasonable justification to change the engagement, and if the audit work performed compliant with the essays applicable to the change engagement, the report issued would be appropriate for the revised term of engagement. In order to avoid the confusion, the report would not include reference to the original engagement or any procedure that may have been performed in the original engagement. Question 10. If the auditor is unable to agree to change of the term of the audit engagement, and if not permitted by management to continue the original audit engagement, the auditor shall answer option A, withdraw from the audit engagement where possible under applicable law or regulations, option B, determine whether there is any obligation either contractual or otherwise to report the circumstances to other parties such as those charged with governance, owners or regulators, option C, withdraw from the audit engagement where possible under applicable law or regulations and determine whether there is any obligation either contractual or otherwise to report the circumstances to other parties such as those charged with governance, owners or regulators, option D, withdraw from the audit engagement where possible under applicable law of regulations or determine whether there is any obligation either contractual or otherwise to report the circumstances to other parties such as those charged with governance, owners or regulators. Answer is C, withdraw from the audit engagement where possible under applicable law or regulations and determine whether there is any obligations either contractual or otherwise to report the circumstances to other parties such as those charged with governance, owners or regulators. If the auditor is unable to agree to change of the term of the audit engagement and is not permitted by management to continue the original audit engagement, the auditor shall withdraw from the audit engagement where possible under applicable law or regulations and determine whether there is any obligations either contractual or otherwise to report the circumstances to other parties such as those charged with governance, owners or regulators. Question 11. The request from the client for the audit to change the engagement may result from 1. A change in circumstances affecting the need for the service, 2. A misunderstanding as to the nature of the audit or related service originally requested, 3. A restricted on the scope of engagement whether imposed by management or caused by circumstances. Option A 1 only, option B 1 and 2, option C 1, 2 and 3, option D 1 or 2 or 3. Answer is option C 1, 2 and 3. The request from the client for the audit to change the engagement may result from a change in circumstances affecting the need for the service, a misunderstanding as to the nature of an audit or related services originally requested, or restricted on the scope of engagement, whether imposed by management or caused by circumstances. Question 12. Standard on Quality Control SQC1 provides that A. Unless otherwise specified by law or regulation, audit documentation is property of management. Option B. Unless otherwise specified by law or regulation, audit documentation is property of those charged with governance. Option C. Unless otherwise specified by law or regulations, audit documentation is property of management or those charged with governance. Option D. Unless otherwise specified by law or regulation, audit documentation is property of the auditor. Answer is option D. Unless otherwise specified by law or regulation, audit documentation is the property of auditor. Standards on auditing. Standards on Quality Control SQC1 provides that unless otherwise specified by law or regulations, audit documentation is the property of auditor. Question 13. As explained in Essay 200, overall objective of independent auditor and conduct of an audit in accordance with the standards on auditing dash is obtained from the when the auditor was dash is obtained when the auditor has obtained sufficient appropriate audit evidence to reduce audit risk, the risk that the auditor express an inappropriate opinion when the financial statements are materially misstated to an acceptably low level. Option A. Absolute assurance. Option B. Limited assurance. Option C. Reasonable assurance. Option D. Reasonable and absolute assurance. Answer is option C. Reasonable assurance. As explained in Essay 200, overall objective of an independent auditor and the conduct of an audit in accordance with standards on auditing, reasonable assurance is obtained when the auditor has obtained sufficient appropriate audit evidence to reduce audit risk to an acceptably low level. Question 14. Dash sets the scope, timing and direction of an audit and guides the development of the more detailed plan. Option A. Audit program. Option B. Overall audit strategy. Option C. Completion memorandum. Option D. Audit plan. Answer is option B. Overall audit strategy. Overall audit strategy sets the scope, timing and direction of audit and guides the developments of more detailed plan. Question 15. Planning is dash process of an audit that often begins shortly after the completion of the previous audit and continues until the completion of the current audit engagement. Option A. Continuous. Option B. Discrete. Option C. Neither continuous nor discrete. Option D. Strategic. Answer is option A. Continuous. Planning is continuous process of an audit that often begins shortly after the completion of the previous audit and continues until the completion of the current audit engagement. 60. Question 16. Statement 1. The establishment of overall audit strategy that the detailed audit plan are not necessarily discrete, sequential process but are closely interrelated. Statement 2. The audit shall establish an overall audit strategy that guides the development of audit plan. Option A. Only statement 1 is correct. Option B. Only statement 2 is correct. Option C. Both statements 1 and 2 are correct. Option D. Both statement 1 and 2 are incorrect. Answer is option C. Both statement 1 and 2 are correct. Statement 1. The establishment of the overall audit strategy and detailed audit plan are not necessarily discrete or sequential process but are also interrelated. Statement 2, the auditor shall establish an overall audit strategy that guides the development of audit plan. Both the statements are correct. Question 17. Which of the following is not addressed by overall audit strategy? Option A, scope of audit. Option B, timing of audit. Option C, direction of audit. Option D, monitoring of audit. Answer is option D, monitoring of the audit. Which of the following is not addressed by the overall audit strategy? Monitoring of the audit. Question 18. The overall audit strategy and the audit plan remains the responsibility. Option A, auditors. Option B, management. Option C, those charged with governance. Option D, both management and those charged with governance. Answer is option A, auditors. Overall audit strategy and the audit plan remains the auditor's responsibility. Question 19. Determining a percentage to be applied to chosen benchmark involves the excess of in relation to materiality. Option A, independence. Option B, professional judgment. Option C is professional skepticism. Option D, professional behavior. Answer is option B, professional judgment. Determining a percentage which to be applied to a chosen benchmark involves the exercise of professional judgment. Question 20. Which of the following is not an example of benchmarks in determining materiality for the financial statement as a whole? Option A, profit before tax. Option B, tax revenue, total revenue. Option C, audit program. Option D, total equity. Answer is option C, audit program. Which of the following is not an example of benchmark in determining materiality for the financial statement as a whole? Audit program. Question 21. Which of the following is correct? Option A, the auditor shall establish an audit plan that sets the scope, timing and direction of an audit and the guides the development of the overall audit strategy. Option B, the auditor shall establish an overall audit strategy that sets the scope, timing, direction of audit and there is no need to guide the development of the audit plan. Option C, the auditor shall establish the overall audit strategy that sets the scope, timing and direction of the audit and that guides the development of the audit plan. Option D, the auditor shall establish an audit plan that set the scope, timing and direction of audit that there is no need to guide development of overall audit strategy. Answer is option C. The auditor shall establish an overall audit strategy that sets the scope, timing and direction of audit and that guides the development of audit plan. Which of the statement is correct? The auditor shall establish an overall audit strategy that sets the scope, timing and direction of audit and that guides the development of audit plan. Question 22. Planning an audit involves option A, establishing the overall audit strategy for engagement and developing of an audit plan. Option B, establishing the overall audit plan for the engagement and developing an audit strategy. Option C, establishing the overall audit plan for the engagement. Option D, developing an audit strategy. Answer is option A, establishing the overall audit strategy for the engagement and developing an audit plan. Planning an audit involves establishing the overall audit strategy for the engagement and developing an audit plan. Question 23. When planning an audit, option A, the auditor considered what would make the financial information materially misstated. Option B, auditor need not consider what would make financial information materially misstated. Option C, the auditor need not consider what would make the financial information materially misstated at planning stage. Option D, the auditor need to consider what would make the financial information materially misstated while conducting audit only. Answer is option A. Auditor consider what would make the financial information materially misstated. When planning the audit, the auditor considers what would make the financial information materially misstated. Question 24. Essay 320 of a materiality in planning and performing an audit requires that an auditor, option A, should not consider materiality and its relationship with an audit risk while conducting an audit. Option B, should consider materiality and its relationship with audit risk while conducting an audit. Option C, should not consider materiality but should consider its relationship with audit risk while conducting an audit. Option D, should consider materiality but need not consider its relationship with audit risk while conducting an audit. Answer is option B, should consider materiality and its relationship with audit risk while conducting an audit. Essay 320 on materiality in planning and performing an audit requires that an auditor should consider materiality and its relationship with audit risk while conducting an audit. Question 25. Which of the following is true? A. Option A. The internal audit plan should be comprehensive enough to ensure that it helps in achieving of the above overall objective of an internal audit. Option B. The internal audit plan should generally be consistent with the goal and objective of internal audit function as listed out in the internal audit charter, as well as the goal and objective of an organization. Option C. In case the entire internal audit of the particular internal audit engagement has been outsourced, the internal auditor should also ensure that the plan is consistent with the term of the engagement. Option D, all of the above. Answer is option D, all of the above. Question. Which of the following is true? Option A. Internal audit plan should be comprehensive enough to ensure that it helps in achieving of the above overall objective of internal audit. Option B. The internal audit plan should generally be consistent with the goal and objective of internal audit function as listed out in internal audit charter, as well as goals and objective of the organization. Option C. In case the entire internal audit or particular internal audit engagement has been outsourced, auditors should also ensure that the plan is consistent with the term of an audit. Answer is all of the above. Question 26. Once the overall audit strategy has been established, dash can be developed to address the various matters identified in the overall audit strategy, taking into account the need to achieve the audit objective through the efficient use of audit resources. Option A, audit strategy. Option B, audit plan. Option C, audit plan and audit strategy. Option D, audit notebook. Answer is option B, audit plan. Once the overall audit strategy has been established, audit plan can be developed to address the various matters identified in the overall audit strategy, taking into account the need to achieve the audit objective through the efficient use of audit resources. Audit plan. 27. Question 27. The auditor shall develop an audit plan that shall include a description of option A, the nature, timing and extent of planned risk assessment procedure. Option B, the nature, timing and extent of planned further audit procedure at the session level. Option C, other planned audit procedure that are required to be carried out so that the engagement complies with essays. Option D, all of the above. Question answer is option D, all of the above. The auditor shall develop an audit plan that shall include a description of the nature, timing, and extent of plan, risk assessment procedure, the nature, timing, of extent of plan, further audit procedure at the assertion level, the other planned audit procedure that are required to be carried out so that the engagement complies with essays, and all of the above. Question 28. Statement 1. A response that indicates a difference between information requested to be confirmed and information provided by confirming party is negative confirmation. Option Statement 2. A failure of a confirming party to respond or fully respond to positive confirmation request or confirmation request returned undelivered in exception. Option A, statement 1 is correct. Option B, statement 2 is correct. Option C, both the statements are correct. Option D, both the statements are incorrect. Answer is option C, both the statements are incorrect. Statement 1. A response that indicates difference between information requested to be confirmed and information provided by confirming party is negative confirmation. Statement 2. A failure of confirming party to respond or fully respond or to the positive confirmation request or confirming request returned undelivered in exception. Answer is both the statements are incorrect. Question 29. CA Vijay is statutory audit of XYZ auditor of XYZ Limited for the financial year 21-22. During the process of assembling the audit files, CA Vijay briefed his team as to what all changes can be made to the audit documentation at that stage. Which of the following changes cannot be made to the audit documentation during the final assembly process? Option A, sorting, collating and cross-referencing of working paper. Option B, signing of completion checklist relating to the file assembly process. Option C, deleting or discarding superseded documents. Option D, recalculation of depreciation. Answer is option D, recalculation of depreciation. CA Vijay is the statutory auditor of XYZ Limited for the financial year 21-22. During the process of assembling the audit file, CA Vijay briefed his team to what all changes can be made to audit documentation at that stage. Which of the following changes cannot be made to the audit documentation during the financial assembly process? Recalculation of depreciation. Question 30. Which of the following is not correct? Essay. Option A, Essay 230 audit documentation. Option B, Essay 500 audit evidence. Option C, Essay 505 written representation. Option D, Essay 560 subsequent event. Answer is option C, Essay 505 written representation. Question 31. Dash refers to the audit procedure performed to obtain an understanding of an entity and its environment, including an entity's internal control, to identify and assess the risk of material misstatement. Option A, risk assessment procedure. Option B, test of control. Option C, substantive analytic procedure. Option D, overall observation. Answer is option A, risk assessment procedure. Risk assessment procedure refers to the audit procedure performed to obtain an understanding of an entity and its environment, including an entity's internal control, to identify and assess the risk of material misstatement. Question 32. Audit documentation provides option A, evidence of the auditor basis for conclusion about the achievement of overall objective of the auditor, or evidence that the audit was planned and performed in accordance with essays and applicable legal and regulatory requirements. Option B. Evidence of auditor basis for a conclusion about the achievement of overall objectives of the auditor and evidence that the audit was planned and performed in accordance with essays and applicable legal and regulatory requirements. Option C. Evidence of the auditor's basis for the conclusion about the achievement of overall objective of the auditor. Option D. Evidence that the audit was planned and performed in accordance with essays and applicable legal and regulatory requirements. Answer is option B. Evidence of auditors basis for conclusion about the achievement of overall objective of the auditor, the evidence that the audit was planned and performed in accordance with essays and applicable legal and regulatory requirements. Question 33. Which of the following is correct? Option A. The auditor shall assemble the audit documentation in an audit file and complete the administrative process of assembling the final audit file on a timely basis after the date of auditor's report. Option B. The auditor shall assemble the audit documentation in an audit file and shall not complete the administrative process of assembling the final audit file. Option C. The auditor shall assemble the audit documentation in an audit file and complete the administrative process of assembling the final audit file on a timely basis before the date of auditor's report. Option D. Auditor shall not assemble the audit documentation in an audit file. Answer is option A. The auditor shall assemble the audit documentation in an audit file and complete the administrative process of assembling the final audit file on a timely basis after the date of the auditor's report. Audit documentation. Which of the following is correct? The auditor shall assemble the audit documentation in audit file and complete the administrative process of assembling the final audit file on a timely basis after the date of auditor's report. Question 34. Audit evidence includes option A. Information containing in accounting records underlying the financial statement. Option B. Both information contained in accounting records underlying the financial statement and other information. Option C. Other information. Option D. Information contained in accounting records underlying the financial statement or other information. Answer is option B. Both information contained in the accounting records underlying the financial statement and other information. Question 35. The auditor shall design and perform audit procedure in order to identify litigation and claims involving the entity which may give rise to a risk of material misstatement, including option A. Inquiry of management and, where applicable, other within the entity, including a house legal counsel. Option B. Reviewing minutes of meeting of those charged with governance and corresponding between the entity and its external legal counsel. Option C. Reviewing legal and expense accounts. Option D. All of the above. Answer is option D. All of the above. The auditor shall design and perform audit procedure in order to identify litigation claims involving the entity which may give rise to a risk of material misstatement, includes inquiry of management and, where applicable, other within the entity, including in-house legal counsel, reviewing minutes of meeting of those charged with governance and correspondence between the entity and its external legal counsel, reviewing legal expense accounts. Answer to all of the above. 36. Question 36. If the auditor is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence regarding the opening balance, the auditor shall express disclaimer opinion. Option A. Disclaimer opinion. Option B, qualified opinion. Option C, a qualified opinion or a disclaimer opinion as appropriate in accordance with SA 705. Option D, unmodified opinion. Answer is option C, a qualified opinion or disclaimer of opinion as appropriate in accordance with SA 705. If the auditor is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence regarding the opening balance, the auditor shall express a qualified opinion or disclaimer opinion as appropriate in accordance with SA 705. Question 37. Auditor's judgment as to sufficiently may be affected by the factors such as option A, materiality, option B, risk of material misstatement, option C, size and characteristic of population, option D, all of the above. Answer is option D, all of the above. Auditor judgment as to sufficiency may be affected by the factors such as option D, such as materiality, risk of material misstatement, size and characteristic of population, all of the above. Question 38. The auditor has no obligation to perform any audit procedure regarding the financial statement after the date of the auditor's report. However, when after the date of the auditor's report but before the date of the financial statement are issued, the fact becomes known to auditor that had it been known to auditor at the date of auditor's report may have caused the auditors to amend the auditor's report. The auditor shall option A, discuss the matter with management and where appropriate those charged with governance. Option B, determine whether the financial statement need amendment. Option C, inquire how management intend to address the matter in the financial statement. Option D, all of the above. Answer is option D, all of the above. The auditor has no obligation to perform any audit procedure regarding the financial statement after the date of auditor's report. However, when after the date of auditor's report but before the date of financial statement are issued, a fact become known to auditor that had it been known to auditor at the date of auditor's report may have caused the auditor to amend the auditor report. The auditor shall discuss the matter with management and where appropriate those charged with governance, determine whether the financial statement needs amendment, inquire how management intends to address the matter in the financial statement. Answer all of the above. Question 39. Audit risk is a function of the risk of material misstatement and dash. Option A, detection risk, option B, inherent risk, option C, control risk, option D, business risk. Answer is option A, detection risk. Audit risk is function of risk of material misstatement and detection risk. Question 40. For a given level of audit risk, the acceptance level of detection risk bears dash relationship to excess risk of material misstatement at assertion level. Option A, direct, option B, inverse, option C, no relation, option D, either A or C. Answer is option B, inverse. For the given level of audit risk, the acceptance level of detection risk bears inverse relationship to the assessed risk of material misstatement at the assertion level. Question 41. Risk of material misstatement has dash components. Option A 1, option B 2, option C 3, option D 4. Answer is option B 2. Risk of material misstatement has two components. Question 42. Control can be dash related to an assertion. Option A, directly, option B, indirectly, option C, directly or indirectly, option D, no relationship between control and assertion. Answer is option C, directly or indirectly. Controls can be directly or indirectly related to an assertion. Question 43. Which of the following is incorrect? For the purpose of identifying and assessing the risk of material misstatement, the auditor shall option A, identify risk throughout the process of obtaining an understanding of an entity and its environment, including relevant control that relate to risk, and by considering the classes of transaction accounts, balance and disclosure in the financial statements. Option B, assess the identified risk and evaluate whether they relate more pervasively to the financial statement as a whole and potentially affected by many assertions. Option C, relate the identified risk to what can go wrong at the assertion level, taking accounts to relevant accounts that the auditor intend to test. Option D, not consider the likelihood of misstatement, including the possibility of multiple misstatements and whether the potential misstatement is of magnitude that could result in material misstatement. Answer is option D, not consider the likelihood of misstatement, including the possibility of multiple misstatement and whether the potential misstatement is of magnitude that could result in material misstatement. Which of the following is incorrect? For the purpose of identifying the assessing the risk of material misstatement, the auditor shall not consider the likelihood of misstatement, including the possibility of multiple misstatement and whether the potential misstatement is of magnitude that could result in material misstatement. Question 44. Dash refers to the difference between the amount classified presentation or disclosure of the reported financial statement item and the amount classified presentation or disclosure of the disclosure that is required for the item to be accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework. Option A, misstatement. Option B, fraud. Option C, error. Option D, fraudulent financial reporting. Answer is option A, misstatement. Misstatement refers to a difference between the amount classified presentation or disclosure of reporting financial statement item and the amount classified presentation or disclosure that is required for the item to be accordance with the applicable financial framework. Misstatement. Question 45. Latest and Vibrant Limited is an unlisted public limited company. For the above mentioned company, it will be required to appoint an internal audit accordance with the provisions of Companies Act 2013 only when during the preceding financial year the paid up share capital of the company would be option A, less than or equal to 50 crore. Option B, more than or equal to 50 crore. Option C, less than or equal to 100 crore. Option D, more than or equal to 100 crore. Answer is option B, more than or equal to 50 crore. Latest and Vibrant Limited is an unlisted public limited company. For the above mentioned company, it will require to appoint an internal audit accordance with the provision of Company Act 2013 only when during the preceding financial year the paid up share capital of the company would be more than or equal to 50 crore. Question 46. Bright and Smart Private Limited will be required according to provisions of Companies Act 2013 to appoint an internal auditor only if the turnover during the preceding financial year would be option A, less than or equal to 200 crore, option B, more than or equal to 200 crore, option C, less than or equal to 150 crores, option D, more than or equal to 150 crores. Answer is option B, more than or equal to 200 crore. Bright and Smart Private Limited will be required according to the provision of Companies Act 2030 to appoint an internal auditor only if the turnover during the preceding financial year would be more than or equal to 200 crore. Question 47. Component of risk of material misstatement is an assertion level are option A, inherent risk and detection risk, option B, inherent risk and control risk, option C, control risk and detection risk, option D, inherent risk and control risk detection risk. Question 40. Answer is Option B, inherent risk and control risk. Component of risk of material misstatement at assertion level are inherent risk and control risk. Question 48. Which deviation from controls upon which the auditor intends to rely are detected? Option A. The auditor shall not make any inquiries to understand these matters and their potential consequences. Option B. Auditor shall make specific inquiries to understand these matters and their potential consequences. Option C. Auditor shall make general inquiries to understand these matters and their potential consequences. Option D. The auditor shall make both general as well as specific inquiries to understand these matters and their potential consequences. Answer is option B. The auditor shall make specific inquiries to understand these matters and their potential consequences. When deviation from control upon which the auditor intends to rely are detected, the auditor shall make specific inquiries to understand the matters and their potential consequences. Question 49. Because the assessment of the risk of material misstatement takes accounts on internal control, option A, the extent of substantive procedure may need to increase irrespective of the result from test or control. Option B, the extent of substantive procedure may need to increase when the result from test of control is satisfactory. Option C, the extent of substantive procedure may need to decrease when the result from test of control are unsatisfactory. Option D, the extent of substantive procedure may need to increase when the result from test of control are unsatisfactory. Answer is option D. The extent of substantive procedure may need to be increased when the result from test of control are unsatisfactory. Because the assessment of risk of material misstatement takes accounts of internal control, the extent of substantive procedure may need to be increased when the result from test of control are unsatisfactory. Question 50. Risk of material misstatement may be defined as the risk, option A, that the financial statements are materially misstated after audit. Option B, that the financial statements are materially misstated during the audit. Option C, that the financial statements are materially misstated prior to audit. Option D, all of the above. Answer is option C, that the financial statement are materially misstated prior to audit. Risk of material misstatement may be defined as a risk that the financial statement are materially misstated prior to audit. Question 51. The susceptibility of the assertion about the class of the transactions account balance of disclosure to a misstatement that could be material either individual or when aggregated with other misstatements before consideration of any related control is option A, control risk, option B, inherent risk, option C, detection risk, option D, audit risk. Answer is option B, inherent risk. The susceptibility of the assertion about the class of transaction accounts balance of disclosures to misstatement that could be material either individual or when aggregated with the other misstatement before considering of any related control is inherent risk. Question 52. The assessment of risk is option A, matter capable of precise measurement rather than matter of professional judgment. Option B, matter of professional judgment rather than a matter capable of precise measurement. Option C, matter of professional judgment as well as capable of precise measurement sometimes. Option D, none of the above. Answer is option B, matter of professional judgment rather than matter capable of precise measurement. The assessment of risk is matter of professional judgment rather than a matter capable of precise measurement. Options. Question 53. The assessment of the risks of material misstatement may be expressed in option A, quantitative terms such as percentage or non-quantitative terms. Option B, quantitative terms such as in percentage. Option C, non-quantitative terms. Option D, none of the above. Answer is option A, quantitative terms such as percentages, or in non-quantitative terms. The assessment of risk of material misstatement may be expressed in quantitative terms such as percentage or in quantitative terms.